Other rules: tidy up your space, leave a happy memory, and instructions for what is to be done with it all. Then say goodbye, quietly. Final rule: never look back. Today on the Comic Book Report, Moths by J. Michael Straczynski and Mike Choi from AWA Upshot. Stick around and check it out. Greetings everyone, my name is Dominic and today you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And today I am back in the Resistance universe over at AWA. This is a really fun sort of superhero shared universe that they kicked off within these last few years. But yes, today we are reviewing this trade paperback collection for Moths. This 6-issue limited series was an absolute blast, spinning out after the Resistance event. They actually even reference one of the issues in that other work, which I did review on the channel as well. But yes, this was a really fun series that was thoughtful and an interesting examination on life. I'm excited to talk about it today, but before we do, just a huge thank you to those at AWA for sending over this review copy in exchange for this honest review. And as always, I want to shout out the channel's sponsor, OrganicPriceBooks.com. If you're looking to pick up your own comic book collected editions, I always encourage you to check them out. You can find a link to them in the video's description, and if you see anything on the site you like, you can even use my discount code at checkout, TheComicBookReport, to save $2 off of your order. Please note if you use my affiliate link or code to make a purchase, I will earn a small commission, but it's a fantastic way to support this channel. Thank you for considering. Now on with the show. First, some quick facts about today's collection. The comics in this volume were written by J. Michael Straczynski and illustrated by Mike Choi. The comics in this volume were published by AWA Upshot beginning in 2021. The volume itself collects Moths, issues 1 through 6. And finally, this is a standard size trade paperback edition with glossy print paper stock, a glued binding, and a total of 144 pages. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and issue a general spoiler warning. I will be flipping through the contents of today's collection and commenting on plot points throughout. You've been advised. Okay, and here's our first dedicated look at the front cover for today's trade paperback. We have a little bit of a review up top. We have the creators, followed by the title, of course, Moths, followed by that uncanny, almost photorealistic art style of Mike Choi, depicting our central character, Emily Kai. And beneath her, we have the AWA Upshot logo. A pretty striking cover. Now, as we get to the spine, we do again have that AWA Upshot logo, followed by the title of the work. Below that, we have the last names of our creators, followed by a little volume 1 on a field of, I'm not really sure what that color is, maybe a light teal or a gray or something. I'm interested that it says volume 1, as I'm pretty sure this is a standalone work, but who knows? I guess future time will tell. And on the back of the trade paperback, we have a little bit of a description about it, followed by kind of a collage of different art from the collection. You can definitely get an understanding of the visual style. We have some reviews as well, pricing information, all that stuff. Pretty standard fare for the back of a trade paperback, although I really do like how much art they utilized to help sell this. I think it's a great graphical representation of the work. And for all of you interested prospective collectors out there, I did want to do a quick look at the book's binding. So as I mentioned, it is a glued binding, and we do perhaps have a little bit of gutter loss. There were moments where I had to push the pages down a little bit. I didn't really lose all that much to the gutter, but it was perhaps worth mentioning. And as always, you can watch as I flip through and determine for yourself. But overall, no real complaints from me here. And just for fun now, I did want to go ahead and put this paperback next to the Resistance Volume 1 paperback, also from AWA Upshot. That is the miniseries or event that really kicks off this shared universe. I would consider that prerequisite reading before picking up Moths. You could probably enjoy Moths by itself without any context, just knowing that this is kind of an emerging superhero world, as I do believe it provides some context to enjoy it. But I highly recommend you read the Resistance first. It's a great little miniseries that, again, just sets up this world, and then Moths gets to kind of offshoot from it. I did review that on the channel as well, as I mentioned. I'll try to link the video in case you're interested. These are only 2 examples within the Resistance universe, but never fear, I plan to read some more going forward. Okay, and after that we can jump right into the collection. As you open it up, you see some solicits for some other AWA materials. We have a title page, and on the back we have our publication information page, and then we're just off to the races with issue 1 of Moths. So this is a really fascinating little mini-series here. Like I mentioned, it's a 6-issue trade paperback, and it can be read as a self-contained story, though again I recommend picking up the Resistance. Without spoiling too much of that Resistance work I mentioned, but giving enough so you understand the context of this world. Essentially, in the world of the Resistance, there was a global pandemic that decimated a lot of the world's population. As the disease began to run its course, we found that the survivors of this era would basically have a good chance of developing superpowers. The superpowers were fairly random. Some of them could be flight, some of them could be firepower. Like any superpower you can think of, it could essentially happen after this whole exposure. Now, of course, the nature of the virus, what happened with it, where it came from, and just who has powers and who doesn't is all a bit up in the air and is kind of some of the central mystery and tension within the Resistance universe. Now, there are some factions, of course, without powers that are scared of people with powers. Certainly, kind of global politics or even just society is deeply and profoundly affected by this. Because of that, some are viewed kind of higher than general society, some lower, kind of a stigmatized class. Think something like the mutants and X-Men. There's definitely some kind of similarities here, I would say. But really fascinating within this universe, we not only have people that just develop these superpowers, we also have people known as Moths, which basically they can choose to open themselves up and receive their superpower, but they burn out within 6 months. So these are a little bit different than the other superpowered people. Somehow they just know, or they test for basically being Moths, and they have a choice when to activate their gift, but whenever they do, it starts a timer, and 6 months to basically the moment, they are gone. They kind of radiate and kind of explode out. So that's where Emily Kai comes in. She's our central protagonist for this work. She realizes that she's a moth, and overcoming her own kind of personal tragedies, losing her father, being kind of estranged from her mother, she's grappling with the decision on whether or not to emerge as a moth, but knowing it's going to cut her lifespan down to just 6 months. However, she has a fundamental feeling that this is part of who she is now. It's part of who she is, and she might have a gift that could help save or better the world. And she feels this urgency that she has to begin. Now, when people activate their moth gift, they basically glow and kind of fly in the air for a minute, and then they basically are imbued with whatever power they have. So for her, she does this at kind of a theater or dance hall. And then afterwards, she emerges with the power of, drumroll please, superhuman empathy. And right away, you might be thinking, what kind of power is that? How are they going to use that? Well, in a really fascinating way. She basically begins by kind of feeling and understanding people's emotions, but then it gets more than that. She's able to really kind of help shift or sway emotions. From that, she can kind of manipulate people's emotions when she feels so called to. She can have them experience what she wants them to experience. She can pull from people's emotions and help manipulate or flood people with them. And it's a really dynamic and unique gift, and I think how she utilizes it and grows with it over the course of the series is really pretty remarkable. Along the way, she decides to use her powers for good, basically setting up a performance where people that have disabilities or handicaps are able to experience this beautiful art that she has with dance and kind of visual performance. So basically, people can experience, if they've never heard, they can hear the sounds of music when she's playing, or when they can't see, they can see through her eyes, or they can feel the beauty of the movement if they are maybe paraplegic. And it's this beautiful empathic way where they're able to experience this beauty and kind of loveliness of the world and art and what she's trying to communicate to them. So she becomes kind of an internet phenomenon, but we have some people trolling her or believing she's just kind of a snake oil salesman out to make money and publicity, but she really has very altruistic and true motives. Along the way, she's also drafted to help settle international conflicts before they explode. She's used to kind of quell conflicts and rebellions around the world kind of covertly. She also gets pulled into kind of of the underground of these super folk trying to emerge and save the world where possible. Along the way, we get to know some of her friends, and she even falls in love. Interestingly enough, with the love interest, we get to see the budding romance of their love, but of course you have that tragic timer in the back of it all. Along the way, again, her powers seem to grow and grow and grow, and we don't know where they'll top out. She gives one final grand performance in a huge stadium where the whole world is able to feel kind of love and togetherness, and for a while there's even peace in the world before people start to forget. Afterwards, she decides to use the rest of her time just with her loved ones and her beloved, of course. She's able to kind of heal her relationship with her mom, or at least give her mom the peace that she doesn't necessarily feel like she deserves. And then afterwards, she ultimately extinguishes. She burns out, and we're left to see kind of a vision of her in this weird space where did some of her essence or soul survive somewhere, question mark. But that's the overall feel of the story, the overall plot synopsis. There are of course moments and things here and there that I've left out, but that's the general shape of the storytelling here. On every page, of course, we have the gorgeous art of Mike Choi, who incorporates this kind of photorealistic looking art style. Sometimes it is just unbelievable, sometimes it borders on uncanny, and everything in between. I really love seeing the facial expressions and the uniqueness of these characters and the world. I think that they really created something beautifully unique here. I also love that this is just a huge reflection on life, death, art, beauty, and you also have some superheroics, vigilantism kind of in there as well. It's also just fascinating to read this in the context of the Resistance universe, as this is such a different tone and just going for a different direction. It really shows me the potential breadth of the universe here. I was really impressed by this. I thought it was a really lovely story. It helped me feel feelings, which is probably great for a book about empathy and life. But yeah, I would recommend this to a lot of people, especially those that just want a really profound character study that makes you think about life. The fact that it's also in this awesome shared universe is just the cherry on top. I've been a huge fan of JMS ever since I first read him in the pages of The Amazing Spider-Man, and I've loved so far reading what he has over here at AWA with the Resistance universe. At the back of the collection, you even have a little bit of an afterword or essay from J. Michael Straczynski himself, along with some kind of production images and art things. Really like that we got a little bit of covers there. Just overall, a really beautiful collection. I'm just happy to see some of those extras. I thought that his afterword was pretty insightful as well. But that really is Moths from AWA. Again, I really like this series. I knew next to nothing about it, but after this and reading Resistance, I'm absolutely hooked in this overall universe. And now all that's left to do is to give this book a grade. For a truly beautiful graphic novel reading experience, The Comic Book Report is happy to give Moths by J. Michael Straczynski and Mike Choi from AWA Upshot a B+. This was a wonderful, wonderful read. I had the best time making my way through. It was full of surprises, twists and turns, but honestly, it again was just beautiful. I really enjoy a story like this that makes me think, while also just enjoying a straightforward narrative with great, solid, grounded characters. This makes me really, really optimistic for the future of the Resistance universe and makes me absolutely eager to see what else AWA has to offer. Between reading the Resistance and even Not All Robots, which was within this publisher, even if it's not this same shared universe, I'm just really excited. This has really been a tremendous trip for me. I highly recommend this book to so many out there. If you have any questions about it, or you want to talk Moths or the Resistance universe, you'll definitely have to drop it in the comments. I'd love to get some discussions going. Again, a huge thank you to those at AWA for sending over this review copy, and thank you to all of you for taking this ride along with me. Until next time, this has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to leave your like, those comments we talked about, and maybe check out another video on your way out. Thanks everyone, have a good one.